All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Gravel?
So they could hear it.
Just wanted to welcome everybody here. It's real nice to have a full house and see so many people here this evening. Thank you. All right, I want to call to order the workshop for the Bullhead City School Board on Thursday, February 20th, 2025 at 5:32 p.m. Board members, please make sure you have your microphones on for the entire meeting. All right.
Roll call. Read the highlight.
This one here?
Yep.
Do I have to read this?
No.
Okay. All right. Call to order meeting.
Roll call. Roll call.
Oh, roll call. Okay. Roll call. Charlene D. is here.
Fred Rushton here.
Barbara Zarzicki here.
All right, 1.3. Interview board member candidate.
She's here. She's here.
And I saw Judy walk in.
Yeah, she's hiding in the back. So you can invite her to the podium.
Judy, why don't you come on up, Ms. Reed?
So she can introduce herself.
Are there questions? Oh.
Good evening, how are you?
All right, so our only applicant for the deadline is Judy Reed. Hi, Judy. And board members, you're free to ask Ms. Reed any questions if you'd like.
Unfortunately, I've known Mrs. Reed for many, many years and know her educational background, so I'm very happy that she's considered being on the board.
Well, it has not yet been my pleasure to really get to know you, but I'm looking forward to it. And in looking at the credentials that you bring with you, I think you're going to do an amazing job and be an outstanding addition to our little group here as we try and take care of our children in the schools.
Thank you.
So, glad you're here.
And Judy, we've known each other for a while, so I'm real excited to have you join our board as well. All right, so I need a motion.
May I ask a question?
Oh,
you can't-
absolutely.
Yeah, you can't do any motions
No.
during workshop.
Oh,
But
that's right.
I've known Judy for a long time as well. But Judy, for the benefit of people in the room who maybe don't know you as well as some of us do, would you give a Reader's Digest version of why you're interested in this position and your background?
Okay, yes, my background is in education. I was a principal in this district for 5 years, and I was with the high school district as both a principal and then a director of career and technical education, special ed, many other programs, because I think I got everything thrown on my desk that no one else wanted. But I really love the community. I want to see the schools improve. I think I might bring some new ideas that would be relevant to the students and to the betterment of the schools and the students.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Reed?
Do you have anything you'd like to say to us?
No, I'm just looking forward, I think, to the being part of this group. I think that the elementary school district is well run, and I know with all the financial woes of the state that to have a strong board is very necessary because of financial, I should say, challenges that we all face. And I would love to see the school remain in good financial shape, plus good shape for the kids and the teachers.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean.
You can sit down.
Yes. All right, our next item is 1.4 mid-year assessment data, and Ms. Lott is, oh, there you are.
And board members, if you will, before Jen shares the data with you, a couple of things I'd like to point out to you. First of all, let's remember that we're only 18 months into a 60-month process, and things never move as fast as any of us would like. So please keep that in mind. And I was reminded today, partly because I have a shadow. Sandra Brown is shadowing me and working on her superintendency certificate. And one of the things that she's pointed out to me to remind me, which is a good thing, is that every time you have a turnover in staff or leadership, things either plateau or they dip a little bit before you go back up. And you all know how much turnover we've had in the last 18 months. So it's not an excuse, it's just a reminder of the realities of when you're making change. And so with that, I'll let Jen share data with you. We have some things to celebrate.
Okay.
Oh.
We will start with
You're
math.
fine, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about being late. I apologize for being late.
That's all right, no problem.
We're glad you're here.
Sorry.
Switch
All right,
chairs.
so we will start with our kindergarten math. It's pretty consistent, but I would remind you that the target changes every test. So we expect them to know more each time we take the test. So consistency really means that they're making appropriate growth. They're making equivalent to that year's growth if we keep consistent. In order to increase the amount of proficiency, we actually have to have our students make more than 1 year's growth, or more than, like right now would be more than a half a year's growth. So this is kindergarten math as a district. And then I also have as a school, so we can see, does our Valley maintain pretty well? They did lower the amount of students that were minimally proficient. You can see Diamondback's growth. And then Sunrise had a little bit of struggles in the area of kindergarten math. And then just to show, because sometimes, so if we look at that, you don't see a lot of growth. So sometimes it's nice to look at the schools because you can see the individual, the differences. But I pulled out a couple teachers as well, just so that you can see. These are teachers who are doing the new instructional model that we've been doing for the last 18 months. And so you can see, even with kindergarten, it does work. The one in the middle is something I have not seen, is that she had all of her students in math at proficiency at this time of the year, and that's rare. So that was a big celebration. All right, so next is first grade. First grade for school. You can stop me at any time, so I'm just gonna kind of, there's a lot of slides. And then there's a couple celebrations for our math.
Quite an improvement in that bottom graph between, quite an improvement in the bottom graph between benchmark 1 and 2.
Yes.
That's, and this is an individual class?
Yes, that is an individual class, and that particular class is at Desert Valley.
Well, I think that teacher ought to get a real acknowledgement of the effort and the work.
Yeah,
That's
completely
wonderful.
eliminated the yellow band, which is neat. If we can start them out strong when they're younger, then we can maintain that as they get older. So, second grade. If we look at by school, we did have dips in second grade.
Still struggling a bit.
And then here's just a couple highlights. A couple teachers who are doing really well. And once again, I tried to pull out the teachers who were doing the model of instruction that we're working on so that you can see so that it does work. Third grade, we did struggle a bit. When looking at the third grade assessments, they did not assess the main cluster standards. So that's something we're going to have to look at moving forward, is really previewing, I think, finding a way to preview the test before we give them to make sure it does include the main clusters. It's not that we don't teach all the standards, but we do concentrate on those main pieces that we know are going to be tested and that are that kind of flow throughout the grade levels. And third grade test did not have a lot of those main clusters in that assessment this time. So big essential standards. This is as as the school growth. And then I pulled, oops,
Jen, if you'd go back to that one a second.
this one.
So you notice that we have Coyote Canyon included on that, and just keep in mind that we have very few students at any grade level at Coyote. So this graph may only show results for 2 students or 1 student. So just keep that in mind for Coyote. Remember, we only have 30 students there.
And they only go to school half a day.
And they
so-
only go to school half a day, so.
And then we pulled out a couple of teachers who still did really well. And they kind of get lost in the shuffle when you show the overall growth. So. Fourth. There's districts and the schools. And then we do have some individuals. The teacher that's, I know you can't see names, I purposely removed the names, but the teacher on the bottom is in every single highlight. So if you see highlights in math and in reading and science, and even when we look at the Dibbles results, this class shines in all of the subject areas. Okay, here's 5th grade. Can't show you as a school because all of them are at the same school. I didn't pull out highlights, and I really probably should have, because although we didn't have any classes that showed tremendous growth, we had 3 classes that maintained all the way through. And so that actually is growth, because that means those students are growing at the appropriate speed. So. And then we have 6th grade. And to pull out a couple teachers. We do like the significant decrease of the red, and then we see a lot of increases in proficient, but definitely moving their students in 6th grade. 7th grade. And some highlights from 7th grade. The graph on the top is the group from Coyote Canyon. And the teacher there is actually a long-term substitute teacher, but he started attending the math unwrapping document planning meetings on Fridays with Fox Creek, because the majority of his kids seem to be 6th through 8th or 5th through 8th grade. So he's been attending with 5th grade, or with Fox Creek. So he's starting to learn the standards himself as a substitute teacher, and started out with math this year. So we hope that he'll be back next year, and then he can go learn ELA. But we thought it was best to start with one main subject for him this year.
And he is working on a teaching certificate, so that he does a marvelous job with our students at Life Academy on all kinds of other things, but now is really beginning to focus on academics as well, and really wants to be a teacher. So we're encouraging him and supporting him in that effort.
And then 8th grade. District scores. And then to pull out some individuals from 8th grade. questions or anything, comments about math? We are seeing some improvement. I know it's not a lot, but we are seeing some, especially in the classes that are doing the model that we're asking them to do. You can also tell the difference of those that do carry the planning that we do on Fridays into the planning they do weekly with their own school, and then follow that through in their classrooms. So we are finding with some of the teachers, they're doing great planning, but it's not always being executed the way they planned it in their classroom. So we're working on that consistency as they're learning the standards, also getting the delivery. All right, so we'll move on to ELA. ELA, the Galileo starts at 2nd grade. That's as a district, comes as schools. And individual teachers. And even though it doesn't look like a lot of growth when you see the right-hand side, where you're looking at the number that are actually at or above benchmark, if you see the red, especially on the bottom, the teacher on the bottom decreased her students who were minimally proficient by quite a lot. So even though she maintained the proficiency, she started moving some of those minimally proficient students up. Third grade, like I said, third grade's this. You need to look at the third grade assessment overall. They did the test didn't match really well what we're teaching. But then we pull out a couple highlights, and we do have some good things going on. Fourth grade ELA. It's a district, the school sites. And then a few individual teachers. And the one in the middle is the teacher I told you you're going to see on every fourth grade highlight page. Yeah, fifth grade. Of course, there's no school since it's almost in one school. And we have some highlights. Sixth grade. Individuals. So I have the one on the top because she did decrease her minimally proficient by over 10%. So that's why she's listed on the top. Even though it might not look as good on the proficiency side, she is bringing her lower performing students up, as are the other two as well. I'd say Bullhead Middle did put in a pretty structured, like, reteach time into their schedule this year. And so, although I know they tell me they're still tweaking it, it's pretty good. I didn't really anything. Yeah. So they've been working on it, and so as they look really well at their data, and they look at what students need. But they also have stations that the students rotate through besides just being with the teacher, and so they're seeing a lot of growth through that procedure. So it's fun to see that you can also do that at the middle school, because it's usually a practice that's done at the elementary schools. And 7th grade, they kind of split their partially proficient students between the red and the green, but still goes. Highlights. This is just one teacher that I pulled out that had some pretty significant growth. So. Any questions on the line? So then we have science. Science, the assessment starts at 3rd grade. And here's district results. We have school results. And then the individual teachers. It's 4th grade. It's a district. 4th grade school sites. And the individual teachers. The class in the middle is one of our special ed classes at Project Ella. And I know there's only a couple of students in that grade that takes that test, but I thought that was pretty significant. 5th grade. And then some growth. This is probably our biggest highlight for science is 7th grade. I know Mrs. Goat has been working with her science teachers this last quarter. So I think that was a specialty of hers, was teaching science. So she's been working with them to increase the rigor of the classroom. A few highlights from teachers in 7th grade. For 8th grade. It's nice to see the blue, but it's really nice to see the huge growth of the students who are minimally proficient. And then once again on the top is Coyote Canyon, who I believe has maybe 3 or 4 students, I think. Next year is our last year with our science program, the adopted program Amplify. It's the last year of our contract, so we will be looking to pilot new science programs next year. We're finding it's not as rigorous as we want it to be, and so we're looking for something different to help us teach science. And then last, Next, we have our DIBELS results, or M-Class. It is for kindergarten through 4th grade. It's a lot of information, so I might go through the first few slides kind of quickly. The DIBELS teaches all the building blocks you need for reading. The composite score is just the overall of all of the different pieces. Letter names is pretty straightforward, but phonemic awareness is what you can do in the dark. So it's breaking words apart and putting words together orally and auditorially. Letter sounds, the nonsense word fluency, CLS, that's sounding out words, but the words are nonsense words, so they're not real words. So it's more like reading syllables that you might see once you get older. Right under that is decoding with NWF, WRC is nonsense word fluency, words read correctly. So that's the top, they can sound them out. The one that's decoding, they can actually blend those pieces together even though they're not, most of them are not real words. And then word reading is actually reading sight words. So as a district, that's kindergarten. 1st grade adds reading accuracy. So based on how many words you read correctly in a passage, how many words do you read correctly? And then the oral reading fluency is actually how many words they read in a minute. So all of these are 1 minute timed assessments. Second grade. The maze is a reading passage that actually has pull downs. So they have to pull down the words that would, and pick the word that would make the most sense in the sentence. Third grade. So here's where it gets a little bit easier. It is by school, but this is all phonemic awareness. So this is the piece that you only do in the dark, that you can do with your eyes closed. We do have some pretty good growth. This is one thing we really do need to concentrate on, though, because it is one of the main building blocks of reading. If you can't hear them, then it's really hard for students moving forward to learn how to read. You have to be able to hear each piece of a word before you can actually read the word. So it's one piece that we really do need to work on. There's a couple of teachers that really shine. The hash line, when you see the green that has the hashes, it means the students tested out. So they go from here into the next assessment. They didn't need to take it. Nonsense word fluency, this is just sounding out the letters in the words. Sometimes we see a decrease in this when students are starting to blend words together, because it takes them longer to sound out and blend the word than it does just to go through and say the sounds of each letter. So it is common for this to go down before it goes back up. The teachers who really shine. And this is being able to read words, whole words. And this is how many words a student read in a minute out of a passage. We typically don't give this assessment until 1st grade, but sometimes we have kindergartners ready towards the end of the year for this assessment. and the accuracy. So out of the many words that they read from the passage, how many they read correctly. Either read correctly or went back and corrected as they were reading.
And Jen, I'm correct on this one. You don't expect to have blue on this one.
No.
You just expect green. There's
Yeah,
there's not
there is
an
no blue.
exceeds on this one because it's reading the words that are presented and they're grade level appropriate words.
They did very, very well. Shows some growth. And that's all the data.
Jen, the students take the Galileo one more time? Or
Yep, we
two
take it one more time in
Just
May.
one more time?
Last year, we did it 4 times, and we thought that when we did one in November, December, and it was way too early. We were expecting to see a year's growth, but we hadn't even taught for a year yet, or half a year, and we hadn't even taught for half a year yet. And then our final assessment in the past used to be around this time of year, because that's when we would take what we saw from the results, and they'd basically cram, I guess, for the state assessment, all the standards that were really low. So we decided last year to change that, and so we're doing 3 assessments. We just feel like, well, it's a better indicator of what we're doing.
Jen, you might want to explain to the parents where these test scores come from and that, because you're saying benchmarks to them, but they don't have any idea.
Benchmarks, okay.
Do you where the kids got the test, these benchmarks from, so you might want to explain to them the
Okay.
test.
Yeah, so a benchmark assessment is all the standards that we teach throughout the whole school year. So we take one in the beginning of the school year to see kind of where students coming at. And then throughout the year, we just finish the assessment right before conferences. And then we'll take another one right before the end of the school year. And so your hope is that it keeps going up because you want your students, we're teaching all the standards. So by the end of the year, when they get taught all of our standards, then the students should be better because they've learned all the content. So these are not used for grades. We don't use these to grade students at all. We don't use them like for their proficiency on their standards on the report card. It's for information for the teachers to know what the students do well and what they don't, and what we need to reteach. So our teachers do look at the results, but they mostly look at what they've already taught. So what did we teach the first half of the year? Which standards did we teach, and how did our students do on those standards, and what did we reach?
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Lott? Okay.
I think maybe for parents present also, you can see why we have started reporting to you on report cards and to our students as well, how they're doing on the standards, because that's how we determine whether they're making progress as opposed to the grading system that we used to do with ABCD. Because that frequently was not, those grades were frequently not related directly to what we were teaching as the standards. And so we feel this is that's a much more honest way of reporting to you where your child is. But as Mrs. Lott said, these benchmarks are for us as educators to decide what we should improve on in our instruction.
Okay. All right. Subject 1.5, GCD, professional support staff vacations and holidays.
So, Acting President, we're not going to look at all of these individually right now. I put them on the agenda for the workshop in case you had any one of these that you wanted to ask questions about. If it's a policy, it's going to be a first reading in the actual agenda of the meeting. But there are a couple that I have specifically requested. Cass, if you'll go back to the agenda, please. The ones that I asked to have on the agenda are the first two, the one on holidays and vacations and the one on the school year. And I thought I had, I had an exhibit, but I didn't have to bring that. I asked for these two because we've changed some practices And so the policy, we need to be following policy. So if we're changing practices, we may need to make sure that the policy supports the practice. The others on the list were suggestions and recommendations from ASBA based on changes in the laws from the last legislative session. So, and of course, it includes some regulations and some exhibits, which you will not see in the regular agenda because we don't usually have you vote on those until you have voted on the actual policies. And so tonight, those will be first reading, so it'll be pretty quick. But if you had any questions about these, this would be a time to ask.
The Title 9 things, has that been resolved at all?
Yes, as you know, the courts threw out the 2024 version of Title IX, and so we've returned to the 2020 version. You, as a board, on my recommendation, did not change our policy at the time, ACAA, and left it the way it was. The changes that are being presented for this one, Cass, if you'll bring that one up, please. ASBA had made changes in this policy for the 2024 version. Now they've gone back to the 2020 version, but there are a couple of changes. And so I decided that it would be good for us, especially since the references, the legal references at the bottom are a little different, to go ahead and give you this version. The other thing is that they've changed some of the terms. So for instance, where it says complainant, that heading was not in there and that definition was not in there in our old version. Neither was respondent. So they made some really good clarification changes in this. It doesn't change the process that we've been using because we didn't change the policy at the time. Okay, it's mostly wording that's different. And I thought it was a pretty good deal that they, pretty good idea that they spelled out some things more specifically than in the past.
Okay. Any other?
I could move.
Nope.
Okay.
That's the only thing I had when I went through this last night.
And it's a good question, Melinda, because at first I thought, we're not going to even look at it. But then when I read it, and I realized that they had made some good changes, even from what we had, I thought, yeah, let's update ours.
Okay, so we're reading each of these into the record.
In the meeting, you will. I mean,
Okay.
we won't read them, but you'll
Here,
you'll
we don't
deal
have
with
to.
them
Okay.
in the meeting. And it's a first reading, so if it's one of those things that you want to think about or make any suggested changes, of course, that needs to happen before the next meeting when you will vote on them.
Okay.
For the public, for parents who are here, policies are the rules by which our district operates, and they're based on state law or federal law. Our board is a member of the Arizona School Boards Association, who hire attorneys to make sure that the policies are written in such a way that they actually do what the law says we're supposed to do. But they're our rules. So for us, they are our laws for running the district. And there are about 700 pages of them. So they get reviewed and updated as needed when laws change. But they are the items from which we run our district.
Okay, so I can move down to 1.19.
Yes, you can.
And I need a motion to adjourn the workshop.
I make a motion, we adjourn the workshop.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor? Charlene Diaz, aye.
Melinda Sabrowski, aye.
Aye, Fred Rushton.
Aye, Barb Zarzicki.
Workshop is closed, and I'll let you take over the regular meeting. It's all yours.
I was kind of enjoying sitting over there. I do apologize for being late. I got caught by two students. My class ends at 5, and I got caught by two students in traffic and all that stuff. I apologize for being late.
Glad you're here.
No problem. I just barely made it because of my other board meeting. Are we ready?
I call to order the regular meeting of Bullhead City School Board on Thursday, February 20, 2025 at 6:12 p.m. Yeah, it's about 6:12 p.m. Roll call. Present Melinda Sabrowski.
Charlene Diaz here.
Fred Rushton here.
Barb Zarzicki here.
Would you please stand and say the pledge with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a lot of citizens here present and a lot of beautiful artwork. I wish I had gotten here to see this. I hope is it going to stay a little bit? So
Well,
I
they
can
haven't
see it?
talked about it yet, so
Oh,
it's coming up
man.
in the agenda.
I wish I could draw like any of them.
They're gorgeous.
Yes.
It's hard to concentrate on the people when you have all this stuff in front of you. Citizens here present. This is a time,
No, you don't have to do that. We have no call to the public.
we have no call to the public? With all these people here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's go to donations then, I guess, huh? Donations, oh my gosh. I went through this last night. This was phenomenal. But I need to know what is the Bowflex Max trainer and all that stuff that he's getting rid of. Is that because he's quitting, he's stopping exercising?
No, Corey loves to go to auctions.
Ah,
And so he purchases things that I believe, he hasn't said this, I believe it's his wife says, you can't bring those home. So he has to find some place to park them.
but it's good for our kids. because
Absolutely.
Those are the kind of things that our kids need as they train. I want to thank everybody in the community for providing for our kids. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was very nice. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I second it.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
2.8. Dr. Stewart.
Madam President and board members, you can see the multiple reports that we have there. I'll answer any questions you might have about them, and then I have some updates.
I have no questions. Did anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so a couple of updates. First of all, Chartwell's presented or brought for your culinary pleasure,
Our dining pleasure.
or dining pleasure, pozole. It's in the conference room. I made a mistake. We had talked about this and that they would bring it and talk about it to you all at the workshop, and I forgot to write it down, so I did not get it on the agenda, but it's in there for you to eat. It's excellent, by the way.
Very good.
But I'm going to say to the folks present that if they want, after the middle school does their little presentation and whatever, if anybody wants to go help eat up what's in there, they're certainly welcome to do so. That's one thing. The second thing is I'm very pleased to announce that our child care center is going to be visited in the very near future to be considered for national certification as a child care center. And that's real exciting for us to have that. We'll have some other ideas about the child care center next month, but I knew you'd be as happy as I was to hear that we're really being considered for national certification. So, and then finally, speaking of donations, I had an email a week or so ago indicating that Safeway over on Highway 95, which has just completed remodeling, was giving us grants, $2,000 per school, to celebrate their renovations. So today, we received the check for $12,000 from Safeway. And I shared the information with principals last week so that they could start thinking about how they might want to spend $2,000 for their site, $2,000 unexpected dollars for their site. So that was a real pleasure to get from Safeway Corporation.
That's nice.
So,
Oh, yeah.
yes, very much so.
Dr. Stewart, are we, I'm assuming we're going to send them some kind of a response.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to have on March 6th, I think it's March 6th, we're going to have a representative of each school go there because they're going to have a little ceremony and present the big fake checks, and do a photo op. And so we'll be really excited to be part of that process on March 6th at the Safeway over on Highway 95. So, and absolutely, we will thank them for that.
Any other questions for our superintendent? Okay. Moving on, 2.9, board member updates. I want to hear about what happened with the Zoom or the call-in.
Well, we had a Zoom meeting last week, and it was regarding open meeting law, and they hit on all the main points and stuff. I will say that listening to them, we follow it to the T, and everything they were saying is everything we do in our meetings, that we don't have any discussions or anything behind closed doors, that, and everything's very out in the open here, transparent. And I did tell Dr. Stewart, the one thing that was brought up that we weren't obeying for the last 2 months is they said that you have to have a clock in the meeting room, because when you call your meetings to order, it has to be the clock that the whole public can see. It can't be our computers or our phones or anything. It has to be the clock that the public can see as we're calling it to order. So we do have to have an operating clock in our meeting room.
And we do.
And we do now, after 2 months of getting on Cassie.
Fred, any comments?
I'll just echo what Barbara said. I thought that the main presenter from, I'm not sure, was he from the district?
No, he was
no.
He, at any rate, I thought
Flagstaff area.
he was very knowledgeable, and he ran through stuff very quickly, but he was very thorough in his presentation. So it made it, somewhat interesting to hear a different slant on some of the things that we're supposed to be doing.
How about you, Charlene?
I thought it was informative, and it was a good meeting. There was a lot of information, but
Well, I see that there's another one coming up.
There is.
And again, they put it in the middle of my workday.
Yeah.
I apologize for not being there to attend that, but I hope so that 1 or 2 or 3 of you guys will.
When's the next one?
Cass says you have it in front of you.
Oh, duh.
Oh.
April 3rd? Okay.
April 3rd.
I would really like to attend one. Maybe I'll just get sick or something and.
Maybe you can give your class a computer test that day.
I think that, I will tell you that last Friday, County Superintendent Warren and the past superintendent from Needles School District and I were a panel for the Colorado River Women's Council Leadership Group. And Mr. Warren indicated how pleased he was that how many districts signed up. We have 13 districts in Mojave County, and originally the response was very, very weak in terms of interest, but it ended up, I think he said that every district was represented in some way at the training, and so that's a really good thing for the county to have that many school districts participating.
Well, once they changed it from having to go to Kingman to Zoom meetings,
Yeah.
it made a lot of big difference for a lot of people
Exactly.
and stuff. Because I know there were 18 participants on the Zoom link
Yeah,
alone.
yeah, and it would certainly make
So-
a difference for those districts in the Colorado Strip, because, 5-hour drive for a
No,
half-day
they were
meeting,
going to
so
be Zoom already. It was
Yes.
just us down here.
the
that
rest
were-
of us, yeah.
You got included. Okay, well, I'm a loser. I didn't get the information. Item 3.14, approval of the consent agenda. Before we approve it, is there anything that needs to be pulled that you'd like to have discussion on? Anything on the consent agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda then?
Madam President, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
By Fred Rushton.
Hi, Barbara Zarzicki.
Item 4.1, student middle school learning.
Madam President, it's
looking
my
forward to
pleasure to introduce Julie Vella, who is the principal at the middle school, and this whole room full of wonderful students and their parents to talk about what they've been doing at the middle school.
So good evening, Board and Cabinet. Thank you for having us here. We are delighted and honored to present to you Bullhead City Middle School's art students from our art elective program. And before I go any further, I just want to say thank you for your patience to our parents. We're starting a little later than I anticipated, and I was so hopeful that everyone could be here tonight to see this. So I appreciate you guys bringing your students here and delighting us with these wonderful art projects.
Mrs. Vella, while you're saying that,
Yeah.
parents, we moved this to in the meeting on purpose because we thought it would be really nice to have people actually here for the meeting, the first part of the meeting anyway, and not just the workshop. But it's an opportunity. Sorry. It's an opportunity for you as parents and for our students to see how our district operates in the sense of who are my bosses, okay, and how decisions get made in the district. So we hope that you've learned a little bit and may be interested in coming into future meetings, or at least watching us on YouTube, because we're on YouTube every time we have a meeting. Thanks, Mrs. Bella. I'll get off my soapbox.
So they make the hard decisions and we get to have all the fun. That's basically what it's like at our school, and we appreciate so much the support from our board and cabinet to be able to have a beautiful art program and a comprehensive elective program for our students. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Ms. Mabasag. She's been our art teacher at Bullhead Middle for 3 years. And over the course of those years, we can just see the outstanding work of our students. So I will introduce her to introduce our students.
Thank you.
Good evening, parents. Thank you for waiting. Good evening, my co-teachers, board of directors. I am Jessica Mabasag, the art teacher of Bullhead City Middle School. I am proudly to present to you the incredible creativity of my 5th and 6th grade students. As you can see, they were able to explore the different art movements from different art styles. Through their artistic vision and using different techniques, they were able to capture a vibrant scene from their imagination, using a vibrant strokes, thin brush strokes, and I'm so nervous by the way, and striking color contrast. So in our classroom, we're not only focusing on developing their visual art skills. We are also improving their knowledge about art history. Using the IE tools, we also do the team academic discussion, where they were able to discuss and share their prior knowledge and their learnings about the history and background of every art movements, as well as the short biography of every painters on their famous artworks. And I'm proudly to present first Miss Jules, okay? This is her painting. Okay, this is a still life painting which is inspired by the work of Paul Cézanne. Okay?
I like
Can you say something about your painting?
What I can say about my painting is that it was very relaxing to do and took me probably a bunch of days to do.
How many days we usually do this art project?
I think like 10.
10 days. Okay.
About Paul Cézanne. Paul Cézanne was born in France in 1839 to January 19. And he was known as a modern, as he was I'm very nervous. He was known as father of modern art. About this painting, it made me very relaxed, very calm, and if I think of it, it made Paul Cézanne very calm too. Mm-hmm. And whenever he was thinking of making apples, he would, whenever he was like kind of bored, he would always look at something to find and then probably sketch it out and then color it. And by making the apples of Paul Cézanne, I used oil pastels.
And I want to, Leila, can you please come forward? to show and tell your sunflower painting, which is, this is inspired by the work of.
Mm-hmm, I recognize
It's
it.
beautiful.
This art really inspired me, and I would like to be a painter just like Vincent Van Gogh.
Can you get closer to the
Get
mic?
closer to the mic, honey.
Get closer to the mic, honey.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And this is my masterpiece inspired by Vincent Van Gogh. He is a post-impressionist painter, and I replicated his famous sunflower painting. In this painting, there are the different shades of yellow that I used. Yellow for Vincent Van Gogh means happiness and joy, and the sunflower signifies gratitude and loyalty. Gratitude. I used oil pastels with all the different shades of yellow, and I would really like to grow up and be a great painter like him.
I'm looking forward to that. You will be the next art teacher in Bullhead sitting in this Great. Let me call Damian Alvarez, please, to please say something about your Starry Night.
Hello, my name is Damian Alvarez, and this is my recreation of the Starry Night. The Starry Night is made from thin brush strokes and the bright colors. And Starry Night is made from Vincent Van Gogh. And Vincent Van Gogh had depression when he was an artist and had mental issues. Fun fact about Starry Night. Did you know the moon in the top right of the painting isn't actually a moon, it is the planet Venus. And unfortunately, Vincent Van Gogh was not able to see Starry Night, and his paintings become iconic.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Let me call Alexia. Another application of Starry Night. Actually, they are the one who created their own the colors that they are needed in the paintings. I just only provide them the primary and neutral colors, and they were able to create the colors, shades,
Wow.
and different tint of colors that they needed in this painting.
Hi, my name is Alexia, and this is my recreation of Starry Night by Vincent Van Gogh. This painting is under an post-impressionism art movement. I created this painting by using different shades of blue, yellow, and brown, and then brush strokes.
Okay, this is the most her favorite painting that she ever created in my art classroom.
It's gorgeous.
Okay, I will be back in. Okay, I can finish this one forward. Another representation of sunflower painting. By the way, this is the second version of her painting because Vincent Van Gogh have 5 copies of the sunflower, and one of it was destroyed during World War II in Japan. So this is one of some recreation of his painting. Okay, Iker, can you tell us something?
Good evening. My name is Iker Pavalencia from 5th grade, and this is called the sunflower. The original was made by Vincent Van Gogh. The art movement is post-impressionism art, and about Vincent Van Gogh, sunflowers, they symbolize loyalty and gratitude, and he had very loyal friends.
until he had an argument with his best friend. Then he cut off his ear. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last, I call Noah to please come forward to say something about the painting. I asked him what painting you want to share in this event, and then you told me that this painting, this sunflower. Okay, say something about your painting.
My name is Noah Marscal, and I replicated this painting from the famous painter Vincent van Gogh. This painting is called the Still Life Plant, sunflower. This was a symbol of gratitude and trivia.
What trivia is that?
Vincent van Gogh didn't have a lot of friends, so this sunflower painting that was given to his friends was his loyal friends. A symbol of loyalty.
Thank you. Okay. Let me call Alden. Her painting is named as the Eye of Truth. Why you come up with this name of your painting?
I named it that because I didn't know what else to call it, and I thought like it's like cool because I don't think I've seen a painting named that before.
How did you come up with this type of painting?
I was looking at that eye and I couldn't find something else to make for this, so I thought of like something that I really like to draw, and I liked eye, and I thought maybe I could try to see how much I could.
So what type of art style is this?
This is pointillism inspired by George Seurat, and it's a neo-impressionism art movement, and it took me a lot of dots.
What did you say a while ago? That you hurt your?
I hurt my arm.
I'm sorry.
It's alright. I forgive you.
Because good. Okay, another pointillism art may call Avery.
Good evening, my name is Avery. My artwork is under neo-impressionism. It is called pointillism. It is made of little tiny dots. My artwork is inspired by George Seurat. And fun fact, George Seurat took 2 years on his painting, but I only took 2 days on mine.
Yeah, she's always precise and fast, but it's beautiful as always. Thank you, Avery. Let me go. This is another type of art style, which is Impressionism art. And this is inspired by the work of Claude Monet, more in landscape painting. And they're the one who make their own concept. So I let them decide what concept they will be gonna paint, which is under in the Impressionism art style. Let me call Angelina. Hello, Angelina. Introduce yourself.
I am Angelina, and I am a 5th grader from Bullhead City Middle School. I would like to present my artwork that represents a calm peace of mind with the delicate light colors. The grass is inspired off of the grass field that Claude Monet had painted before he died, I think. And the flowers represent other calm pieces of mind of how people can bloom from calmness.
That's it? Okay, thank you for Let me call Katie. Another concept art.
which is inspired by Claude Monet. Hello, Kaylee.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Kaylee Hellman, and I have made one of Claude Monet's famous paintings of Impressionism. The reason I chose this painting is because he didn't just take a shade of green and mix it with black, just to make a darker green. He mixed orange, yellow, red, all to make one beautiful landscape. And this calmed me down really well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie.
Let me call Lillian. She loves purple, lavender. So she come up with this concept.
One Dr. Stewart would love.
Yeah. She told me that her favorite color is lavender, any shades of purple. Okay.
My name is Lillian Hitz from Bullhead City Middle School, and I will be presenting my artwork. This painting is an Impressionism landscape. Firstly, I started with a sketch, and then I made colors, and I used cold colors because it's relaxing and not stressful. I made the lavender field out of paper towels scrunched up using a wall. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Lillian, for... I believe she has lots of paintings, but she chose this one. I hope, Kelly, please come forward. This one is, she replicates the painting of Claude Monet, the Lily in the Pond, and it's really captured me when I see her doing this painting. And then I told her what art painting you want to show in the event, and then she told me that this water lily.
Good evening. My name is Kenley Arzaga, sixth grader from Bullhead City Middle. This is my painting, Lilies in a Pond, which I replicated the painting of Claude Monet. He was considered as the founder of Impressionism, the Impressionism movement, and he is well known for his landscapes.
Okay. So, what did you feel while you are doing this painting? How many days did you come up or finish this painting?
I think like 2 or 3 days, and I felt like really calm while making this because it was easy but also pretty. Sorry, I'm so nervous.
So,
But I felt very calm
Okay.
and stuff.
Last but not the least, this is his favorite painting in my art class. And this painting, I didn't paint this, by the way. I got this one from Philippines, and this is the iconic Taal volcano in our country. And I asked her why did he choose this one, and the answer is, Benjamin, why did you choose this? And please come forward and share your painting concept and ideas. So this is how we replicate the Taal volcano from Philippines.
Good evening, board and cabinet. I am Benjamin Marlowe from Bullhead City Middle School, and I would like to present my painting. My painting is Taal volcano in the Philippines. The art movement is Impressionism, or landscape painting, often painted from a view from outside. The famous painter that I was inspired by was Claude Monet. And when I was finding a painting to choose, this one called out to me because it was very colorful and vibrant, yet calming and relaxing.
This painting took me like, I'd say about 3 weeks or so. Yeah. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Our students, can you please stand up? I'm so proud of your efforts. Showing of your masterpiece in front of the cabinet and board and the parents and teachers. And clap your hands for
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful art, you guys.
Beautiful.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You make us proud.
Yes. Beautiful.
Beautiful art.
You can go or you can stay, either one. You may stay.
Or you can stay.
And there is Pizzoli in the room next door.
Thank you, students and parents.
Thank you, parents, for bringing them.
Dr.
Thank you,
Stewart,
students,
is
for the
there
great
a
work.
way to take some of the
Chloe's
art
going
and
after-
display
Oh,
he's gonna go get
in the district office?
Sure. Well, I'll talk with her about that. Yeah,
I think that would be,
yeah,
and you know, we can alternate because there's so many. but-
absolutely.
But I think that might be fun to be able to
Yeah,
display some of this
Absolutely.
student art.
I don't know about the rest of you as board members, but I'm impressed not just with their art, but with their understanding of the
Yeah.
artists whose
Yes.
work that they're replicating.
Yeah.
Because that gives them a real sense of art history and the development of, of the various movements. And the reasons that those artists had
Did
for
them.
some of the things that they did. So I'm impressed with that.
Oh, yes.
It's good.
It's good.
Hey, you're going to have to go and use some of those machines that you donated. That's right. That's it. There is no old business tonight. New business, 6.1, recommendation of new board member to Mojave County Superintendent. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we recommend Judy Reed to the Mojave County Superintendent of Education to take our vacancy on our board.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Hi, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
Hi, Barb Zarzicki.
Okay. We're directing our board secretary to submit the name, please. Judy, I'm Mrs. Reed. I apologize for not being here during your presentation. I'm sure it was wonderful. I just missed it. Sorry. I apologize to you. Item 6.2, fiscal year 24 audit report. I see that we had 10 recommendations and they've all
We
been
did.
corrected.
They have all been corrected, and I did note in my administrative notes to you that the one that had to do with technology, we have, our technology department has developed an alternative method for doing what it was that the auditors were looking for. So we're meeting the expectation, we're just not doing it necessarily in the way that they indicated. And part of that is because the recommended method that has been presented by the Auditor General's office would require a whole lot bigger staff than we have, and because it's the process is very time consuming. But our system is safe for a number of reasons. One is we have no data on our hard drives, our in-house hard drives. All of our data are now in the cloud. So it's not like if somebody hacked into our network, they couldn't get anything particularly useful or damaging to the district because it's simply not here anymore. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we have established, James, I certainly don't have part of it, but James has established a protocol that treats every one of our computers like it's a risk. And so everything is isolated so that on the rare chance that somebody would actually get through our network, through our can't even think, our firewalls, if they could get through to any computer, they could not get anything that was going to be useful to them. So we are as safe from malware and ransomware as we can possibly be in our district, and that satisfies the intent of that particular item on the audit. The other 9 we have handled. We've already taken care of them, and if you read them carefully, you can see that sometimes it's like 1 error out of 20 or 1 error out of whatever, because we're going to make mistakes. That's just going to happen. The thing they're looking for is, do we consistently make the same mistakes over and over, which we don't. So we learn from them, we learn new protocols when we need to, and frequently we institute the changes the day after they leave. So all 10 of those have been addressed.
And that's the reason we have audits, to correct the
That's right.
mistakes and learn by our mistakes.
That's right. And they're here to help us.
Yeah.
They're not here to zap us. They're here to make sure that we're, following the things we're supposed to follow, but also to help us make things more streamlined and more efficient.
So how long did it take for the audit to happen?
Actually, they're usually here for a full week. They usually are working. They show up about 7 in the morning, and usually there's 1 or 2 of them here until 6 or 7 in the evening for Monday through Thursday, and do an exit on Friday. This year they were not here those long hours. They were here maybe 8 hours a day, and they did their exit early in the afternoon on Thursday.
Wow.
So they were very pleased with how we had everything organized for them and ready to go, and then of course answered any questions that came up. One of the questions that they just couldn't figure out was why our attendance at Life Academy absenteeism showed as double what our other records showed, and nobody thought to tell them that the kids are only there half a day. So that affected, that doubled the number when it wasn't really that. So of course we got that fixed instantaneously, and it's not even listed in the report.
Does anybody have any further questions?
No.
I need a motion to approve fiscal year 24 audit report, please.
Madam President, I make a motion that we approve the single audit reporting package for year 2024 as presented.
I'll second that. I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
Hi, Barbara Zarzicki.
The next 2 items, were these people notified that they could have this in executive session?
We don't handle non-renewals that way.
Okay.
Because this is not a termination, it's just simply a recommendation for non-renewal. And so they're aware that those recommendations were made. We just have to formalize it with your approval. Both of these teachers were on improvement plans, had target numbers for their follow-up evaluations, and did not meet those expectations.
I need a motion for non-renewal of the contract for Jody Crowley.
I make a motion, we accept the non-renewal of the contract for Jody Crawley.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
Hi, Barbara Zarzicki.
Madam President, I didn't jump in quickly enough. What I need you to do is also to recommend, give me direction to notify the employee that this is a non-renewal. So motion to non-renew and direct the superintendent
And direction. I'm
to
sorry, I
notify
wasn't
the
reading.
employee. I'm sorry, I was
Oh.
a little late on that.
So do I withdraw that one?
Yeah.
Okay, I withdraw my previous motion, and I make a motion for non-renewal of the contract for Jody Crawley and give the superintendent permission to contact the employee.
I'll second that.
All
motion.
all those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
Aye, Barbara Zarzicki.
Item 6.4, non-renewal of contract for Maritas
Mhm.
Aldona. We need a motion for non-renewal and direction for the superintendent.
I'll make a motion to non-renew and give the superintendent direction to notify the employee of Maritas.
Yeah.
Maritas.
Second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
Aye, Barbara Zarzicki.
Item 6.5, proposal of 2025-2026 school year calendar.
Madam President and board members, the Meet and Confer Combined Committee, so that's the classified and certified committees met to recommend a calendar. They asked, and we did send out a survey to employees with 3 samples. The first sample was the one that is closest to this year's calendar. The second one was close to this year's calendar, but started 2 weeks later. The first day of school would be 2 weeks later, and of course then it ended 2 weeks later in June. And then the third calendar was similar to the one that had originally been approved by Crushed, that started the middle of July, had 2 weeks of fall break, 3 weeks of Christmas break or winter break, and 2 weeks of spring break. And had a 5-day. Our version had only the 4 days that we currently have with 150 school days. The survey was sent out to all employees. 158 of the 344 employees responded to the survey, and it was not a vote, it was a survey to give some direction to the Meet and Confer Committee. 62.7% preferred the calendar that is closest to the one we have for the current year. 17.7% preferred sample 2, and 19.6% preferred sample 3. The comments, because they were allowed to make comments about why they preferred the one that they did. The one for sample 3 was because they have children in both districts, and and felt that the calendars should be as close, to the same as possible. In the interim, the high school district has changed its calendar. I'm not exactly sure if it's close to what we have this year. I know that they went back to a 4-day calendar or 4-day school week. That was approved last month. But I suspect that their calendar that was approved this month is closer to the current calendar. So I'm recommending to you the calendar that is most similar to this year's calendar. Cass, if you'll put that one up, the recommended one, please. So you can see that we would have kinder camp starting the 7th of July. It would run for 8 days. It overlaps with the first 2 days of New Teacher Workshop, New Teacher Academy. And then all returning teachers would begin on July 21st. The first day of school would be July 28th. The rest of the calendar is virtually the same as this year, with the last day of school being on May 21st. And teacher checkout on the 22nd. So ending the school year before Memorial Day. The equivalent of fall break would be Thanksgiving week, and spring break would be the 3rd full week in March for this calendar.
Any suggestions, or how do you guys feel about this?
If this is what the teachers wanted and this is what they're happy with, then I say we should go with them, because they're the ones doing working and stuff, and if this is what they want, then I'm all for it.
Any
I
other
agree.
comments? Okay, you agree?
I agree.
Okay, I need a motion to adopt, please.
I make a motion, we adopt the 25-26 school year calendar as proposed. Sample number 1.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
Oh, now I see why you're here. Item 6.6, extracurricular travel club to be approved clubs for Fox Creek Junior High.
Madam President and board members, if you recall, we had an extracurricular travel club for the middle school a couple of years ago, and that has, it's not gone away, it's just not had any particular interest. The junior high has indicated interest in that, and so I'm recommending that we add that as a club for Fox Creek Junior High. That's the first step in this little process.
You want to talk to us about this?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Why not yet?
Approve adding the
Okay.
club.
I need a motion to approve the extracurricular travel club.
I'll make a motion that we approve the extracurricular travel club for Fox Creek Junior High.
I second it.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
See, it says down here, consider approval of.
Well, yeah, but look at
That's what I was
next, I
wanting to
know,
know
look at
about.
next time.
Okay.
We had to break this down.
No, okay. Item 6.7, approve sponsors for the extracurricular travel club at Fox Creek Junior High.
And if you look at that chart that, or that table that
Yeah.
Cass just had up, our folks who are interested are Julie Jordan and Crunch Solis, and they are here this evening.
Perfect. Okay. I need a motion to approve the extracurricular travel club sponsors for Fox Creek Junior High.
I make a motion, we approve the sponsors for the extracurricular travel club at Fox Creek Junior High.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
Item 6.8, approval of trip to Washington, D.C. and New York City for spring break 2026.
Madam President and board members, the two sponsors are here to talk with you about this trip that they're pretty excited about, and the assistant principal's here for moral support.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He wants
He's
to
here for
go
the
too.
Mazzoli. He knew about it.
This is Julie Jordan.
And you got elected to present this, right?
On the spot,
Yeah,
he's paying for it
okay.
later. I am
Short
Mrs.
straw.
Julie Jordan. I'm one of the teachers at Fox Creek Junior High. Excuse my dress, I'm also the softball coach, and I came rushing over here after practice. That's why I'm oranged
Hey,
out.
You look wonderful.
Thank you. I feel like I'm a mess. So we actually, the official name of the organization was going to be the Educational Travel, or also known as ED Travel. Ms. Solis and I, we want to do this because we want to get these kids outside of Bullhead to experience the culture awareness in the world around us. The community will include members of the Fox Creek Junior High body, student body, as well as the faculty and the teachers, and as well as the local community, where their parents are allowed to come, but the parents would have to pay for their trip. We also want to have them to be able to go to New York City, Washington, D.C., because sometimes this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip. I mean, I've never been, so that's going to be exciting for me. And we want them to be able to research and experience cultures and community outside of Mojave County. I do have copies, if you would like copies of what I'm going to tell you. And they're in color, so it makes it more fun.
Thank you.
So the membership for the club is open to anyone. We are offering this trip to Washington, D.C. and New
Thank you.
York City for incoming 7th graders and our 8th graders that are current 7th graders. We put it in there to see Washington, D.C. first, but we've decided to go to New York City first for 3 days. And we'll be going to places such as the Statue of Liberty, Madison Square Garden, the Broadway show, and a couple of, well, several other places. It'll take me forever to name them. We also, when we go to Washington, D.C., we will spend 4 nights there, and we'll be going to the White House, we'll be going to Black Lives Matter Plaza, the World War II Memorial, and several other ones. We have day and night tours that are available to us and the students. We are estimating it with between $1,800 and $2,100 per student, and we're doing a 6-to-1 student or staff to student ratio. So of course we're going to split up to 4 students per room, same sex, and then each chaperone would have 6 students, and their trip would be paid for. This experience includes round trip airfare. Now, we talked to Southwest, and the more we have, the cheaper it gets. It can go as low as $99 per round trip. So that's pretty cheap. So who wouldn't want to do this, right? It includes the 6 nights, 7-day hotel, the tour guides for events. So we actually have tour guides that we meet with, and they take us all over. It includes breakfast and dinner daily, comprehensive sightseeing tours, visits to the special attractions, 1 standard Broadway show, which is going to be amazing, travel ID badges, and backpacks. So like I said, we won't know until it's approved and until we talk to Southwest again, see at our parent night, when we do our parent night, how many people are actually interested. I put it out there to my 7th graders already, and they're super excited. They're like, tell me more, tell me when. We're going to do some fundraising to offset the costs, like concessions, water sales, movie night, things like that, that we can help offset the costs for the parents. So that's about it. Any questions?
Sounds exciting.
It is very exciting. I can't wait.
And we're going to get a full report with lots of pictures afterwards,
Absolutely.
right?
What do you mean? We get to go on the trip with them if we want.
Well, right? You want to be a chaperone?
There you go.
There you go.
You know, that might be just fun to do.
Yeah.
With
I know.
kids, that might just be fun.
And if you guys look, there's, I mean, we put it all in here where we're planning on going. And the guided tours, there's day tours, night tours. And I know that myself, Miss Solis, Mr. Burgess, and Miss Voke, my mom is also going to be coming. She's retired. She's like, please take me before I die. I said, okay, I'll take you. And she's going to be a chaperone as well. So it's going to be exciting. The more kids we get, the more chaperones that are able to go. So pretty exciting.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you guys for having us. And
Julie, I don't see it on there. If you can include the Korean War Memorial, it is amazing.
It should be on
Okay,
there.
if it isn't, and I may have
Swords
just
on there.
missed it, but it is a very powerful memorial. And,
Yes, it is on there.
Okay,
First
good.
page under Day 1, Washington, D.C.
See, I missed it. Okay, I'm glad you've got that because it's an amazing,
Yep, Korean
it's an
War,
amazing one.
Veterans Memorial, Vietnam veterans, and I
Yeah.
can't wait because all
Yeah,
my
nighttime
family's
one.
military, so.
Yeah.
And some of them
So-
died in the wars.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Needless to say, board members, I'm recommending approval for this trip.
I need a motion to approve the trip to Washington DC and New York City over spring break 2026 for our junior high children.
I'll make a motion to approve the trip to Washington DC and New York City for spring break 2026 for Fox Creek.
I second it.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
Hi, Barbara Zarzicki.
Thank you guys so much. I greatly
Let
appreciate
us
you.
know when you start your fundraising so that, some of us can attend movie night or.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reach out to the community members. I know a lot of local businesses, and I'm going to ask them if they can do some donations. And we were thinking of putting banners in our gym as sponsorship. So,
Excellent.
Yeah, reach out some businesses and
yeah,
Kiwanis,
some-
absolutely.
Rotary. Make sure to get out to all of them.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to. Thank you
Excellent.
guys so much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
One additional thing, with your approval of the club, this now becomes possible to be a tax donation. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was
Sorry, tax credit for their, so these can use that.
for next year, yeah.
Good idea. Money goes next year.
Or this year, actually,
Oh,
it's
that's right, this
yeah.
year I can.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6.9, intergovernmental agreement with Colorado River Union High School District for purchasing. This is Okay, never mind.
Madam President and board members, we used to have a number of intergovernmental agreements, IGAs, with the high school district. We're proposing only 3 for this year. The purchasing one, which is the first one, gives us power in the sense of when we purchase things in the name of Colorado River Purchasing Consortium, we get economy of scale. So I'll give an example. We have the IGA on transportation, and so the maintenance department has to order tires, for instance, bus tires, and that's a pretty expensive item. So they put out a bid for, a bid to various tire companies for a price that then lasts the whole year. We get a better price, better bids, because we're asking for X number of tires for 2 districts as opposed to just 1. And that's just one example. But we benefit with purchasing for things like computer equipment and all kinds of things when we have this kind of an agreement.
Any questions? I need a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Colorado River Union High School District for purchasing.
Madam President, I make a motion that we approve the intergovernmental agreement with Colorado River Union High School District for purchasing.
I second it. All those in favor? I, Melinda Sobrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
Item 6.10, intergovernmental agreement with Colorado River Union High School District for administration.
Madam President and board members, this is an agreement to continue to provide warehouse facilities for Colorado River Union High School District. A good number of the things that they order get delivered here to our warehouse because it's secure, and then get delivered out to their sites wherever they need to go. Our warehouse manager also does mail runs every day to all of the school sites in both districts, circulating the inter-school mail and those kinds of things. So I recommend that we approve this agreement as well.
Any questions? Discussion? I need a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Colorado River Union High School District for administration.
I'll make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Colorado River Union High School District for administration.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sobrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
Item 6.11, intergovernmental agreement with Colorado River Union High School for transportation.
Madam President and board members, for a number of years, the 2 transportation departments have been unified. So, for instance, there's one location for offices and drivers checking in and checking out. Almost all the buses are in our bus lot. And then there is a location on the Mojave High School campus, which is the maintenance garage. And so anytime any of the buses or other vehicles need maintenance, they go there. So, and frequently, when we need substitute drivers, we borrow back and forth between the 2 districts to fill in for either regular routes, or occasionally our drivers are tapped to do trip routes for the high school because they have a lot more trips than we do. Again, this is economy of scale. We don't have to have 2 maintenance departments. We don't have to have 2 offices and a bunch of locations. So this truly benefits both districts.
Has Crushed made any motions to term? This is one that I would see them terminating.
I sent these, as is typical for the last 5 years, I update these and send them off to the superintendent at the high school district. I sent these to him about 3 weeks ago, and I've heard nothing.
Okay.
But I felt like our board needed to make some decision whether we wanted to continue or not, and then we go from there.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Colorado Union High School District for Transportation.
I make
Sorry.
a motion, we accept the intergovernmental agreement with Colorado River Union High School District for Transportation.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
Item 6.12, contract with ESI for principal substitute. This, I think, is a good idea.
This is, and it's nice, it's coming about because we actually have somebody available to do it. Since Sandra moved back into the community, we have available an administrator who is familiar with our district, familiar with our schools, and in fact, we've been hiring her on a time card to help us out with this until we could get this set up with ESI. And she's already turned in all of her paperwork to ESI. ESI is Educational Services Incorporated. It's the company with whom we contract substitute teachers. But we needed to, I needed your permission to go ahead and set this up and determine a rate. I'm recommending $25 an hour, as opposed to either a full-day rate or a half-day rate. So we've even figured out in the last month that there are times when a site maybe only needs Sandra for 4 hours, or maybe they need her for 5 hours. And so an hourly rate works better for that.
This is only an action item. We don't need a motion to approve.
Yeah, you need that is an action item. I'm sorry, it didn't, I didn't show a recommendation there, but yes, we do need action on that.
I need a motion to approve a contract with ESI for a principal substitute.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with ESI for a principal substitute.
I second it.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barbara Zarzicki.
Item 6.13, recommendation to award an additional Category 2 E-rate RFP to Gov Connection?
Gov Connection, mhm.
Is that
That's a company name.
Company name,
that we
yeah.
do business with.
for school year 2025-2026?
Madam President and board members, last month you did approve something similar to this, and we got such good prices, good rates from them relative to our E-rate and what we pay, the 15% that we pay, that we actually had some additional funding. And so Mr. McNutt is recommending that we add some items, since we've already have an approved rate, total, that we add some of these items so that we can use the rest of those funds. So it's one of those good things from bids and those kinds of things, that when we get a good price, then we can use our money a little more efficiently. So this is just adding on to what you approved last month.
We have the money, we're just adding on.
Yeah, we're adding on.
I need a motion to approve, or excuse me, to award the contract recommendation to award an additional Category 2 E-rate RFP to Gov Connection for school year 2025-2026.
Madam President, I make a motion that we award the additional Category 2 E-rate RFP to Gov Connection for school year 25-26 as presented.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barbara Zarzicki.
Item 6.14, GCD, professional support, staff vacations and holidays, first reading.
Madam President and board members, you have several here that are first reading, unless you've got questions about any of them specifically, other than just reading them into the minutes. I think, you can just do that because you're not doing any motions or any decisions tonight. But if you have questions about any of them, we could address those.
Any discussion?
Oh, yep. Fred indicated or showed this to us before the meeting. So if you look at, ABA, The last line, it says they're crossed off practice or within the reach of financial resources available. And then it says is appropriate, and it should be as appropriate. So that would be one change that it would be a good thing for us to make.
Yeah.
Okay?
Got it.
Thank you,
So
Fred,
she will
for
make
being
that
observant.
change before the second reading. Cass can make that change before the second reading.
Thank you for being so observant.
Yeah.
I would have missed it.
I obviously missed it because I read all of these, so.
I was going to say, I did not
I
pick
read,
that up
I
at all.
read at them. Okay, so we read that one in. Item 6.15, IC school year first reading.
Oh, I would like to talk to you about this one because this is the one that I recommended. For several years now, our school year has been 150 days, not 180 days. And so as I was looking through policies for something else, I noted that. So I'm simply recommending that we revise this policy to reflect our actual school year as opposed to the one that's typical.
So we're changing it to 150.
Yes, we're changing it to 150.
Which is what we're actually doing.
Exactly, that's our number of school days. And then you notice in the third paragraph, as so authorized, a school month is 16 school days or 4. Oh, I see a typo
was just
there.
gonna say, there's a typo
Okay,
there.
there's another correction, Cass. 4 weeks of 4 days each. Sometimes they're wees. I think the teachers would agree with that. And then the revision date. So those would be the changes I would recommend for this one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
noted.
Okay?
Item 6.16, ABA, community involvement in education first reading. This is another one of yours, isn't it?
No, this is one of the
Okay, ASBA.
ASBA.
Any questions? 6.17, ABAA, parental involvement, first reading. Any questions, discussion?
What happened to my holiday one?
Item 6.18, AC, non-discrimination or equal opportunity, first reading.
Oops.
Any questions? Item 6.19, ACA, sexual harassment, first reading. I didn't see anything in that one either. Item 6.20, ACAA, Title IX, sex discrimination. This is the first reading. Questions? Item 6.21, AD, educational philosophy, school district mission, first reading.
And Madam President, I would point out to you that this is one ASBA is recommending that we drop, that we delete
say,
it.
that was the- what
Because the educational philosophy and the school district mission are incorporated in other policies.
Got it.
So we probably won't have a second reading on that?
You do have to have a second reading to delete it, yes.
Oh, okay. 6.22, JII, student concerns, complaints, and grievances, first reading. Any discussion? Moving on. 6.23, staff appreciation planning.
Madam President, could we go back, please, to
Sure.
6.14? This one was one of mine. It's not going to
Did I
change the...
just go too fast?
No, I just forgot that it was one of mine. Cass, if you'll get that one up, please. As opposed to being one of the ASBA ones. I'm recommending that we add the day after Thanksgiving as a holiday, paid holiday for our employees. It just seems particularly logical, for people to come back for one day on a Friday is kind of silly, actually. And it's also a nice way for us to say to those employees who are 12-month employees, hey, you don't have to work this day, but we're going to pay you. So I'm recommending that. So that's not one from ASBA, that's one from me.
Okay,
Thanks for going back.
okay, not a problem. 6.23, staff appreciation planning. We need to move to direct our board secretary to do something with this. Any suggestions? for our board secretary? She's all ears.
Oh, all
Maybe they
expense-
should go to Washington DC as chaperones.
No, a cruise.
Any suggestions, seriously?
We've done the food trucks for the last
Yeah.
couple years, I think, haven't we?
Did that go over well, the food truck?
Eh.
No, it's not just,
What about individualized gift certificates for, like a teacher and their spouse for a reasonable dinner somewhere? You know, Jack in the Box or.
Or McDonald's.
that's about all we can afford.
I was gonna say.
I'm sure
You're
that
getting
the
a little
food
pricey
truck,
there, Fred.
I'm sure the food trucks weren't cheap,
No, they
No, they
weren't.
aren't.
They weren't.
you know, so perhaps, looking in an equivalent,
Chili's.
just, that's an idea. That's something I think a teacher and their spouse would enjoy, perhaps.
What if we ask the teachers, what would they like to
Yeah.
Oh, there you
I
go.
bet they'd like a
Yeah.
dozen eggs.
Yeah.
And it's not just teachers, though. Keep in mind, it's
Well,
all
yeah,
staff.
teachers
but
and
still.
staff,
But
yes.
the staff,
Yeah.
what they would like.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the best way to go. Thank you,
Yeah.
Charlene.
You know, you mentioned eggs, and I accidentally dropped an egg yesterday as I was preparing breakfast, so I called my insurance company, and they'll send an adjuster out.
I'm sure that that's on the agenda somewhere. But thank you, Charlene, and thank you, Fred, for making a suggestion. That was beautiful. Item 7.1, future topics. Have we heard anything about Title I funding?
No,
Okay.
no, but Jen can, I'll say no, but Jen can tell you the real answer.
We have not heard anything, but most of my grants open March 1st, and they're usually due May 1st. And I got an email this morning that they're now going to open on April 1st and have an undetermined end date. So I'm not sure what that means.
I think we need to keep our eye on this because this could be very serious coming down the line.
The title grants, well, are all of our grants that Jen manages. If you add together all of the funding that we have to operate our school district, all of it, the grants represent 20% of our funding.
That's how many teachers
That's-
and staff?
Well, it's 10 teachers, and it's 10, no, it's more than that. It's 10% of our employees. We have 344 employees. Okay? So, yeah, it would be a significant hit if we lost those.
35 employees and stuff.
Yeah, we would lose 35 employees, including Jen. She's completely funded with grants. Now, I will tell you that I would be right back to you to say, we're going to figure out how to keep her, whether we had grants or not, because there are too many other parts of her job that are valuable for running this district. So, but, you know, that's kind of a wake-up call when we say to folks, and I will tell you that I included that information in the email, or in the memos and letters that I sent to our federal legislators, and not just for our area, but for the entire state of Arizona, 2 weeks ago. And I did get responses from 3 of the federal legislators thanking me for sending them the information. So, you know, they do pay attention. Now, you know, I mean, it's one district saying something to them, and they're one vote, I get that. But at least they were listening to what we had to say. And related to that, I'm going to pick up on something that you all said previously, which is to have a workshop about budgeting. And I kind of stalled you off until you got your 5th board member, so we didn't have to do it multiple times. And this kind of bleeds over into 7.2 and 7.3. We really need a meeting before the 15th of March, because your next regular meeting will be March 20th. Because I have reasons for us needing a meeting. And one of which is it could start with a workshop about how we determine budget and how we braid together the funds from these various sources, because it's not just M&O and capital outlay. A whole lot of what we do, a whole lot of our employees are paid out of multiple funds. You know, some part of their salaries out of M&O, part of their salaries are out of grants. Some of our employees, part of it's out of M&O and part of it's out of food service. And so various things. So we braid together the funding from multiple sources to pay for positions. And so we could have that kind of a workshop if you wanted to lead into my presenting to you proposed salary schedules for next year. And
Before March what?
before March 15th. Okay, now, the 15th happens to be in the week of spring break.
Yes.
And I doubt that, I mean, I don't know what your schedule's, I'll be here working, so it doesn't matter to me. But we need to determine, you know, I always give you a list of employees we're recommending for renewal of contracts and renewal of work agreements. We need to do that before March 15th. And then I also have information on a budget, not M&O, not capital, but one of our other budgets that's been there, but I didn't know what I could or should do with it. And so I'm going to have a recommendation for, so it's been building for 5 years. The money in that budget's been building for 5 years. So I have some recommendations on its use, on the use of what's been building for 5 years, as well as how to use that budget for next year. So I have a number of budget things and money things that we need to have a special meeting about to get done before March 15th. Whether or not you want that training about how we do budget to be at that same time is up to you, because we could certainly do that later. You determine when and what all you want, what all you don't want in that. If you don't want the budget training at that time, that's fine. But we do need these other things taken care of before March 15th.
What do you anticipate would be the length of the meeting without the just budget training?
At least an hour.
Oh.
If we add the training, that, you know, I mean, depending on the questions and the whatever and how detailed you want, the training itself could be 2 hours to give you a real sense of how those budgets work together. In terms of these specific items, at least an hour. Oh, and Cass reminds me that we would need an executive session to review my contract.
Oh, well, this first week in March, I am not even in town.
Okay.
Neither am I. I mean, now, if you guys want to come to Bryce Canyon with us, we could have it up there, that'd be fine.
We're going to be making quilt tops.
Yes.
So,
So then it sounds like spring break week.
it has
Yeah.
to be break week.
I'm on a permanent spring break, so.
You're on a permanent spring
available.
break? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, neither one of you? We're going to have to train somebody else. She was at one point. That's been a while. We'd have to train somebody, but thanks for bringing that up, Ethan. I appreciate that.
Dr. Stewart, may I recommend you put the calendar, other monitors?
This is this is March. So,
Yeah, there's not much there to conflict with us.
I'm good for the 11th or the 13th, the Tuesday or Thursday, free all day, both days.
Okay, Okay, so the 13th is that Thursday, that's the second Thursday, so that is a problem for Judy, I know. But the 11th?
Judy, is it only at night?
Only at night.
Okay, it's only at night, so it could be in the day if you wanted it.
Oh, yeah, I could do it during the day.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
could too.
I can
Let's
do
the
March 13th.
Okay?
Is that okay with you, Fred?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Barb?
Tuesday on
March
that
13th,
Thursday,
fine.
the 13th.
Yeah, 13th, I
Okay.
can do that, yeah.
How about in the morning, 9:30?
If you want to do the full-blown meeting, then I'd make sure we had lunch. If you want to learn budget.
Service lunch?
9:30 in the morning?
No, I wouldn't serve you lunch at 9:30, but I mean, if you wanted to do the long version
Might
and
as
have the
well.
budget training at the same time, then I would make sure we had lunch.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah, with everything going on right now, it's probably a good thing if we've got that day open, let's go ahead and do it. And
Okay? 9:30?
9:30?
9:30, and it would be approximately till noon, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thursday, the 13th. Thank you for that.
So we have that. I have here a thing from ASBA wanting to know about county meetings for next time. So I don't know whether this goes on future topics or what this goes on.
Could.
I guess it could be future topics,
Yeah.
couldn't it? We hosted last year. Do you guys want to host again?
Fine. I thought it went well.
It's Cassie that actually does.
Yeah, ask Cassie, she's the one who did all the work, all we had to do was show up.
So I'm thinking, Cassie, just go ahead with that. That we'll be okay with that. Any other kind of things that we need to know about? April 3rd, I think, was the next county meeting.
Yeah, April 3rd.
I wish they would change those.
Got it on my calendar right now.
Can we, would it be too much to, okay, before March 15th, we're going to discuss that, the superintendent's contract and performance at the same time?
Yeah.
At this meeting on the 13th?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's why it's going to be 3 hours long.
okay.
You're not doing an evaluation, you're just determining whether you're going to
Renew the contract.
renew my contract.
And we will be still have the meeting on the 20th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll still need a meeting on the 20th. The agenda won't be quite
She
as
will
long.
still find stuff for us to talk about. on the
Absolutely.
20th.
Yeah.
Can I ask
Well, and at that meeting, we can deal with all these policies and all that stuff.
Second reading.
what do we hear, if this isn't inappropriate, what do we hear about our Den project?
About what?
Den.
The Den project.
Well, I should have done that in my update. We had secure alarm systems installed this week in the 3 houses. We're waiting on, I need to release the purchase orders for the landscaping. And I'm in negotiation with GCON on the final payments and those kinds of things, and liquidated damages. So by the meeting on the 13th, I'll have that information for you. And then as soon as the landscaping's done, we can get our permanent certificate of occupancy and can start leasing houses.
Cool.
Any word on the person who wanted to add houses to us?
I haven't heard anything from them lately. I'll reach out to them in the upcoming weeks or so to see where they are. We still would have to do an RFQ on that, and I would like us to proceed with that. But I'd kind of like us to get some folks into these houses and get started with that, so we have some revenue. Some revenue. I am applying for grants with some local organizations to help us with the landscaping expenses, because it was frankly higher than I thought it would be. But I don't see any point in us doing cheap work.
Yeah.
And cheap meaning appearance and whatever, not price. I mean, it could be less expensive, but everything's expensive these days, and it needs to look nice. We want it to look nice in that neighborhood. So,
Yes.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn our regular meeting.
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry. A what?
the regular meeting. Are we approving the regular meeting?
Okay, all right, okay. I thought we had kind of agreed to it.
March 20th,
Yeah, March 20th is going to be it, right?
5:30.
And I need a motion for that?
No. No, she just needed to know.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor? I'm Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
I, Fred Rushton.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
You need to sign. Adjourned.